Peace and love, everyone. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Freedom Writers, Wealth Building and Book Club Reading, Book Reading Club. Glad to have you all here today. Welcome to Mother Flora. Welcome, Brother Harris. Welcome, Mother Hester. Glad to have you all here today. Today, we're going to just be finishing up the book that we've been reading, The Complete Book of Wills, Estate, and Trust. And we ended on chapter 5 last time we were together. Chapter 4. So we're going to be picking up on chapter 5 today. Chapter 5 we'll go over. And the name of this chapter is Common Will Provisions. Did anyone here get the book yet that can help read today? Okay. If not, that's fine. I will go ahead and continue reading. And we'll go from there. So chapter 5 of the Complete Book of Wills, Estates, and Trusts, Common Will Provisions. A word is not a crystal, transparent and unchanged. It is the skin of a living thought and may vary greatly in color and content according to the circumstance and the time in which it is used. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. Few attorneys would disagree. Most of the millions of will contests over the past 2,000 years have turned solely upon the meaning of a word or phrase. After all, a will is no more than a collection of words. It is the meaning of those words, however, that truly challenges the mind and the purse. Yeah. And Justice Holmes is telling us that meanings are not always clear. So where does that leave us? Personally, with the greatest respect for Justice Holmes, I think Humpty Dumpty put it considerably more succinctly when he said to Alice, "When I use the word, it means just what I choose it to mean, neither more nor less. Just what word should go into your will. Aren't there parts of every will that are just about the same? So what's the big deal about words?" A question of words and the use of boilerplate language. Use of the right words can make or break a will. Many people feel, however, that lawyers who draft wills never think about the words they use. They simply pull a standard form off a shelf and bingo, they have a will. Use of such boilerplate forms and provisions cause many to believe that an attorney might not even be needed if one can get one's hands on the right forms. Such standard forms and provisions are called boilerplate because, like the interchangeable metal plates of cylindrical boilers, the very same language is interchangeable from one will to another, word for word. Part of this is true. The fact that we do have hundreds of different forms and standard provisions relating to wills, which can in fact be readily used word for word from one will to another. But it is only the competent and knowledgeable use of such forms and individual provisions that an inter- enables an attorney to produce a good will at a fair price. It is not true that lawyers do not think about the words they use. Of course, as with any business, trade, or profession, there are varying levels of competence, and you may know an exception to the previous statement. But a competent attorney will never use a document that he has not read and does not understand. If your attorney cannot explain to you the reason for the meaning of each provision in the will or trust he has drafted for you, you should probably change attorneys. What many fail to realize is that the use of standardized forms and provisions by an attorney is actually quite ad- advantage- advantageous to the client. These forms usually present suggestions by legal scholars and specialists as the result of many years of study of court decisions, changes in the law, and just plain practical experience. And if the right form is chosen, you are getting the benefit of all that. It would be nearly impossible and financially prohibitive for your attorney to spend the same amount of time researching and developing these provisions just for you on an individual basis. You would expect your doctor personally just for you on an I'm sorry, you would expect your doctor personally to mix the drugs and chemicals of every prescription he gave you, somewhat similar to the physician with the medicine. The critical role of your attorney is to have the knowledge of the standardized forms and provisions that will best protect your interests and satisfy your objectives under the law. But though many standard provisions are necessary and helpful, some are superfluous and useless, and still others can actually be harmful. Unfortunately, attorneys who do not pay attention to the words they are using, or the unsuspecting testators who decide to save a few dollars by own will from a form book, frequently perpetuate such useless and potentially harmful provisions. Okay, there's a chili here. If you'd like to unmute yourself and let yourself be known who you are.
Islam is Shelly. I don't know. It's
Oh, okay. Peace,
it
Shelly. How
comes
are
in.
you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Thank you. I'm glad to have you here with us today. We're just continuing our book reading from the complete book of Wills and Estates Trust.
Okay. No
Okay.
problem.
All righty.
All right.
For instance, for many years, perhaps 100 or more, attorneys and many form books have continued to use the standard will provisions regarding debts. In fact, I wouldn't be at all surprised if your own will has one. It is usually somewhere near the beginning of the will and says something like this: I direct my executor to pay all my just debts and expenses as soon as practical after my death, etc. This is totally useless provision, which in some cases could lead to the payment of claims that otherwise might not have had to be paid. Of course, your executor has to pay your just debts and expenses. So why do you have to direct him to do so? You don't. Just because the provision is standard does not mean it should be used in every case. This is not to say there is no individualization in a will. There are always special provisions or insertions that must be drafted for each particular family, but in most wills, the majority of the provisions are boilerplate, and following is a list of those boilerplate provisions that you'll find in most wills and why you shouldn't find them there. Some common but necessary will provisions. 1. Exordium clause. This is the opening phrase of your will, stating that it is, in fact, your will. The usual language is something such as, I, Grover Lambic of Brooklyn, New York, declared this to be my last will, revoking all prior wills and codicils made by me, quote unquote. This is all the exordium needs to say. It is not necessary to begin, quote, in the name of God, amen, end quote, or, quote, being of sound mind and mindful of the vicissitudes of life, quote, or as in case of the chorus girls will, quote, being of sound mind and fantastic body, end quote, and so on. If you have to tell everyone you are of sound mind, maybe you have a problem. As to the recital of domicile, it is not absolutely necessary, nor is it legally conclusive that you are in fact domiciled where you say you are, but it is a good idea to have it because at least it offers evidence that this is where you declared your domicile to be at the time you signed the will. Survival clause. For every bequest, this is number 2, for every request or bequest you make under your will, including the residuary bequest, you should consider whether you want the named beneficiary to receive the bequest only if she or he survives you. If this is the case, then you must add the words if she or he survives me after such bequest. If you do not, then the bequest will automatically pass to the beneficiary's probate estate if if she does not survive you. Furthermore, as explained in Chapter 2, you can actually specify within reason just how long a beneficiary must live after you in order to be considered as having survived you for purposes of your will. This provision can be very important when, for example, a beneficiary dies a few hours or a few days after you. In such a case, you probably would not want the bequest to take effect. For instance, your will can state that a beneficiary shall not be considered to have survived me or another for purposes of this will unless such beneficiary shall have survived me or such other for a period of 30 days. 30 days is arbitrary and is not the required number for any legal purpose. It could just as well be 10 days or 60 days, but most experts agree it should not be more than 6 months, as this can create estate settlement delays and uncertainties, and in the case of the surviving spouse, can cause a loss of certain estate tax savings. If the beneficiary does not survive you, then the share he would have received will pass on to your residuary estate and will be distributed along with that. The residuary estate is what is left over after payment of all bequests and all expenses, taxes, and claims. To illustrate how the survival clause might work, say that Quincy will provides, I leave the sum of $50,000 to my brother, Randolph, if he survives me. The will also contains a 60-day survivorship clause requiring a beneficiary to survive Quincy by at least 60 days if he or she is to take the bequest. While traveling together, Quincy and Randolph are in an accident and Quincy is killed. Randolph hangs on for a few days, then he dies. Under Quincy's will, Randolph or his estate will inherit nothing, as he did not survive for the 60-day period required under Quincy's will. Without that provision, Randolph would have been entitled to the $50,000 bequest since he survived Quincy, even though only for a few days, After Quincy's estate was settled, the $50,000 request would have to be paid to Randolph's estate, which would involve additional costs and delays and would then be distributed according to Randolph's will, if he had one, and if not, according to the laws of the state where Randolph resided. 3. Simultaneous death, common disaster clause. This can be viewed as related to the survivorship clause just discussed, but in fact, it's somewhat different. All states have adopted what is called the Uniform Simultaneous Death Act, which provides that if the testator and a beneficiary die under circumstances where it is possible to determine the order of death, then the testator is considered to have survived the beneficiary, unless the testator's will provides otherwise. It is not harmful to have both a simultaneous death clause and a survivorship clause in a will, especially where a spouse is involved. In such a case, the will frequently provides that the spouse is expected from the survivorship clause, and in the event of a simultaneous death, the will declares that the spouse with the smaller estate will be considered to have survived for the purpose of reducing the federal estate taxes. See Chapter 13 for a discussion of this. Number 4, tangible personal property. Although the concept and handling of tangible personal property are discussed in a great detail later in this chapter, it is mentioned here only to point out that it should be separated and a specific bequest from the residue of the estate. For instance, quote, I leave all my tangible personal property to my wife if she survives me. If not, I leave such tangible property to my 3 children equally or all the survivors of them, end quote. Tangible personal property normally consists of household furnishings, jewelry, clothing, automobiles, and other movable personal effects, and frequently it is simply taken by surviving spouse and children without any formalities because of the federal income tax laws dealing with the treatment of distributions from an estate. The innocent taking of such tangible personal items can actually be taxable as income to the recipients. However, an exception to such tax treatment applies to specific bequests under the will, and therefore it should be separately bequested as suggested above. Number 5, powers of executor. Generally, lawyers make much more of executor's powers than is frequently necessary, especially in smaller estates since an executor has certain inherent powers necessary to carry out his duties to settle the estate, whether or not stated in the will. However, it does not hurt to provide more extensive powers so as to eliminate any question on the part of the third parties dealing with the estate, and in larger estates where the extent of executor's duties is occasionally unknown, great powers are quite appropriate. Furthermore, there are certain powers that must be specifically stated, including the authority to continue the deceased's business and the power to deal with or sell the deceased's real estate if necessary. Therefore, if you have a business or real estate, your will should contain the necessary powers to allow the executor to deal with these items. These issues are discussed in greater detail in Chapter 9. Most states have statutory or executor powers, which may be incorporated in the will simply by referring to the applicable law of the state. If a trust is created under the will, it is essential that the trustee's power also be dealt with. They may be similar to the executor's powers, but are frequently more extensive because such trusts are generally designed to continue for many years. Number 6, Guardian appointment. If you have minor children, you want to be sure your will deals with appointment of a guardian for them, as well as a successor guardian if the initially named guardian can't serve. This is covered in greater detail in Chapter 2. Number 7, executor appointment. Actually, like most appointments under your will, this is a nomination rather than an official appointment. The official appointment comes from the court if no one objects to your nomination. As with the guardians, you should nominate a successor executor in case the first one named cannot serve. Executors are discussed in detail in Chapter 9. Number 8, bond. This provision usually states, quote, I name Bob blank as executor and direct that he be allowed to serve without bond, or if a bond is required by law, then he should serve without sureties on his bond, with, end quote. With only a few exceptions, every fiduciary, i.e. executor, administrator, trustee, and guardian, must give a bond to secure the faithful performance of his duties, though in a few states the bond can be avoided. A bond is basically the person's promise to make good if he causes a loss to the estate as as a result of his negligence and wrongdoing in carrying out his duties. The bond can be a personal bond without sureties, meaning that it is backed only by the executor's personal assets, or it can be with sureties outside guarantees. The sureties can either be personal sureties, friends of the executor who agreed to pay if he runs off with the estate's money, or corporate sureties, an insurance company that guarantees payment. It is argued that it is argued that a bond with corporate sureties adds to the expense of administering the estate, and this can be true, but in fact, the costs are usually very small in proportion to the amount of money that is covered. If the executor and the primary beneficiary are the same, however, there may hardly be a need for a bond, since if he takes the estate's money, he is taking it from himself. But if they are not the same, you may want to consider at least a personal bond. Number 9, tax apportionment clause. This very important provision states that all inheritance and estate taxes are to be paid from the residue of the estate. The usual purpose of the provision is to leave specific bequests intact on the assumption, for instance, that if Sam leaves $1,000 to each of his 4 sisters, he wants each of them to receive the full $1,000 and not $1,000 minus taxes and minus legal and executor fees. The typical apportionment clause allows them to get the full amount, and the estate taxes on their shares will be paid from the residue. Most states have apportionment statutes providing that unless the will states otherwise, which it is what the standard tax apportionment clause does, each beneficiary will bear his pro rata share of the taxes based on the amount he receives and taking into account tax exemptions and other allowances. In practical effect, therefore, the typical apportionment clause anticipates that the specific legatees, i.e. beneficiaries who receive specified sums or specified items of property, if any, will receive only nominal amounts, and that the residuary legatees, those who receive the residue of the estate, will receive the bulk of the estate. In this case, it is acceptable that they should also pay the taxes. Problems can arise, however, when the specific legatees, as well as beneficiaries who receive property outside the will through joint ownership, for example, receive a disproportionately large part of the estate. If in this case, the will has a standard tax apportionment clause providing that the residuary estate pays the tax, there will almost certainly be trouble, not to mention an unfair distribution of the estate. For instance, say that Meriwether's will has the usual tax apportionment clause and his total estate is $200,000. He leaves $50,000 to each of his three daughters and the rest to his son. State inheritance tax amounts to $16,000 and expenses, legal fees, which are normally paid out of the residue regardless of the apportionment clause, come to an additional $6,000. The son who receives the residue will therefore receive $50,000 less $16,000 in taxes and less an additional $6,000 in fees, or a net of $28,000, while the daughters will receive the full $50,000. If the apportionment clause were omitted from the Meriwether's will, it would have caused each of the daughters to pay her fair share of the tax, though his son would still have paid the expenses. Therefore, before you approve of the standard tax apportionment clause, take a careful look at the specific bequests you have made, as well as the items of property that pass outside your will, and see if the burden of tax payment is where you want it. Number 10, avoid extra guardians. Whenever there are minor children who may stand to inherit from the estate, or even the possibility that a child yet unborn could inherit under certain circumstances, many states, in an effort to protect the interests of such minor children, will require that a guardian ad litem or gal be appointed on behalf of the minor child. This will be done even though one of the spouses is already appointed as guardian under the will, on the basis that since the spouse herself is also a beneficiary, she cannot be totally disinterested when it comes to the child. Therefore, the court will appoint a gal who is usually an attorney known to the judge or the clerk of the court to review the estate matters on behalf of the minor child. Despite this, it is possible in most states to dispense with the necessity of such an appointment, provided you feel comfortable that the persons you have appointed will do an honest job. The dispensation clause usually says something like this: if any occasion shall arise during the administration of my estate or in connection with any matter or procedure connected with my estate, calling for the appointment of a person to represent the interests of persons unborn or unascertained, or the interests of any other person, I direct that such appointment shall be dispensed with, if permitted, under the law of the applicable jurisdiction. Note that these are by no means all the provisions that should or will be in your will. No doubt there will be numerous others to carry out your special wishes and objectives. For instance, there may be a non-contest clause, as discussed in Chapter 10, and or several conditional clauses, as discussed in Chapter 6, or you may even come up with some new ones on your own. Understanding the difference between real and personal property. What is personal property? The term property is often interpreted by the lay public to mean real estate. In fact, property in the basic legal sense means anything that is capable of ownership. In this regard, it could include everything from a theater ticket to a yacht, from a share of stock to a movie contract with MGM, from an apartment lease to ownership of the Empire State Building. All involve a property right of some sort, and all property rights are divided into two basic categories: real and personal. Real property is any personal interest in real estate, that is, land. A property interest in real estate could include a lease or a mortgage, as well as a deed to the real estate itself. When buildings are constructed on the land, they generally become a part of the real estate. Personal property is any property interest other in anything other than real estate and could include shares of stocks, a promissory note, a piano, an automobile, or a copyright. Personal property is divided in turn into two categories: tangible property and intangible personal property. Basically, tangible personal property includes things you can move and touch and that have some inherent value, such as furniture, jewelry, clothing, paintings, collectible coins, rugs, etc. Intangible personal property includes things that in themselves have no value, but which represents the right to something else. For instance, a share of stock, which represents the right to dividends and shares of assets if the company is liquidated, a copyright, which represents the right of ownership in a book, a song, or a work of art, a royalty interest, which represents the right to a share of profits in some resource, or a promissory note, which represents the rights to collect money from someone. Most wills separate only tangible personal property from the rest of the estate, and therefore the rest of the estate normally includes intangible personal plus all real estate. Quite often, there are more problems associated with tangible items of nominal value, i.e., mother's engagement ring, than there are with other estate property of much more substantial value, as illustrated below. Dealing with the Oriental rug, the coin collection, and mother's jewelry. These items, as you now know from the above discussion, are all considered tangible personal property. In most states, the blanket provision leaving all tangible personal property to a spouse or children is usually intended to include only the normal household furniture, clothing, and other articles of nominal value. You should be aware, however, that this same blanket provision will automatically include all of your tangible property, whether valuable or not. If you have items that are of sufficient value that you feel should be separated, then do so. Otherwise, you could invite questions and possibly trouble, as did the famous artist Mark Rothko. Rothko left his wife his New York townhouse and all the tangible personal property in the townhouse. As it was, the townhouse contained a few $1 million worth of Rocco's paintings. Rocco's executor sued his widow, contending that the painting should not be included. The court held that the will was clear and that the widow was entitled to the paintings. Similar problems arise when beneficiaries are given the choice of an item of tangible personal property. Just what is an item? Of course, one item might be a piano or a clock, but what about a 60-piece service of silverware? Is that one item or 60? Or how about a stamp collection? Is that one item or 1,000? The question is illustrated and answered in the case stemming from the estate of Blanche Marston. Mrs. Marston was a wealthy woman from an affluent suburb of Boston. In her will, she provided her for numerous friends and relatives, and the bulk of her estate included the proceeds from the sale of tangible items not left to individuals went to the Marstons Charitable Foundation. The bequest in question was to one Michael Lanegro, who was given the choice of any three items of tangible personal property. Lanegro chose as one of the three items Mrs. Marston's extensive stamp collection worth about $11,000. Marston's executors objected, of course, on the basis that this should not be considered as one of the items, or should not be considered as one item. The Massachusetts Court of Appeals held for La Negro, it would be quite foolish, the court said, to treat this single collection as 20 or 30,000 individual items of personal property. Mrs. Marston, in other parts of her will, had already indicated that she regarded her silver collection as having a unitary character, and the collection of stamps should be treated no differently. This treatment of collections as a single item of personal property is generally accepted, but within reason. A collection of jewelry, for instance, is not consistent with this view unless it is truly in nature of a collection that was accumulated more as a unit than simply as a series of pieces that have the same character. In any event, to avoid the problem, you should be specific and state how you want any such valuable items to be distributed. Leaving a memorandum. Before I go any further, do you want to have anything they wanted to piggyback on as far as what we've been reading, what I've been reading so far? Okay. Well, there's only a couple of pages left in this chapter, and we'll be done for the day. So I'll continue on. Leaving a memorandum. Your statement as to the disposition of your tangible personal property is safest in the will itself, but many people are reluctant to do this as it makes public the items you owned. A will is placed on files at the probate court for any interested party to view. An alternative used by some is a memorandum given to your executor containing a list of items and the respective beneficiaries, such as a private memorandum, or such a private memorandum is perfectly legal and binding if it meets certain requirements. First, it must be in writing and in existence at the time the will is signed. Second, it must be identifiable as the paper referred to in the will. And then third, the will must state that the memorandum is in existence. In other words, you must have it written and preferably signed and dated at or prior to the time the will is signed. If you do all of this, the executor is bound to follow your instructions on the memorandum. But if you do not meet all of the requirements, then the memorandum could become public. Instead, most people regard such a memorandum as some sort of a flexible will as to their tangible property, allowing them to modify the memorandum from time to time as they see fit. Although it is permissible to do so, your executor is not legally bound to follow it. As a result, if you leave your tangible property to your executor to be distributed according to a memorandum, you leave with him, and if the memo does not meet the above requirements, the executor may be able to do whatever he wants with those items, or more likely, there will be a fight over them. Of course, if the executor can be trusted to carry out your memorandum, then things should go as you wish. In fact, where children are involved, many attorneys, this one included, recommend that you write a letter to your children, which really amounts to a memorandum in a sense, asking that they honor the wishes you expressed in the letter relating to distribution of your tangible personal property. Although it is not legally binding, it usually places considerable moral pressure on the children to carry it out. Another caveat, if a child is named executor of your estate and the executor is given authority to divide your tangible personal property among all the children in substantially equal shares, this could also lead to problems in some cases. If you think there could be such a problem, simply name an independent person, a special executor or administrator if necessary, solely for the purpose of making decisions on the on the equitable division of your tangible personal property. Another option we often use to help avoid disputes is to provide that each child will be able to select an item of personal property in turn by seniority or by drawing straws, stating in the will that sets or collections are to be kept intact when practical. If you do have one or two items that are disproportionate in value to the rest, such as a stamp or a coin collection or a single valuable painting, you should deal with this separately and should not lump it in with other items of your tangible personal property. Finally, if there are large items of tangible property or items that require special handling that are bequeathed to individuals, you may want to consider, though it is not necessary, to having those individuals pay for freight, insurance, storage, or other special costs attributable to the distribution of those items. Otherwise, the estate will have to pay those costs. Leaving something to charity. Believe it or not, not everyone wants to make his children rich. There are many who believe that their money will be put to better use by leaving some or all of it to charity. As explained at the outset of this book, however, there is no inherent right to bequeath your property to anyone or any organization. It is only the good grace of the state that allows you to do so. There are therefore a number of limitations and safeguards imposed on us by these laws. One of one of them is the limitation of charitable bequests. In early England, so much property was being acquired by churches and monasteries that the crown became fearful of the tremendous power that the church would wield, and in addition, it was regarded as contrary to economic growth. To counter this trend, a law was enacted that made it illegal to leave property to a charity. Although we have no such laws in the United States, these concerns together with the strong tendency to protect the family have led to laws in a number of states that either limit the amount you can leave to charity or require that the will containing the charitable bequest be executed a specified time before your death, or both. The latter limitation is intended to prevent a person facing death from being unduly influenced or attempting to buy his way into heaven. The time limitation usually provides that the charitable bequest will be invalid unless the will is signed at least or specified number of days or months prior to the testator's death. For those states that have them, the time limitations run from 30 days to 6 months before death. If a codicil to the will is made within the prescribed period, whether it violates the provisions depends on the terms of the codicil. Generally, if it reduces the charitable bequest or leaves it unchanged, it will not violate the time period requirement. If it increases the bequest, however, it may be invalid as to the increase, if not the entire amount, depending upon the state's laws. Limitations on the amount that can pass to charity vary from state to state. In the few remaining states, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Mississippi, that still impose such limitations, however, the limitations usually apply only if the deceased left a spouse and or child or children. If there were no such heirs, the limitations generally will not apply, and the testator can, if she wishes, leave his or her entire estate to charity. You can be fairly certain, however, that if there is a limitation and there is an heir to contest it, it will be contested. For example, in one New York case under a now repealed New York statute limiting charitable bequests, an eccentric spinster left almost all of her $40 million estate to charity. Before you could say the root of all evil, over 2,000 claims were filed contesting the charitable request and asking for a share of the $40 million. Relatives came out of the woodworks, and of course, most of them had their own attorneys. There were so many contestants and attorneys that special arrangements had to be made for hearings, and they could not all fill into the courtroom. One creative relative, however, stood out above the rest. He testified that he was the son of the Spencer's deceased brother, which would make him her only nephew, and if true, this would also entitle him to the entire estate. In evidence, he offered a Bible in which was recorded the marriage certificate of his mother and the Spencer's brother. Because of the massive size of the estate and the vigorous contest, the whole matter was widely publicized, and this new heir quickly made the headlines. Unfortunately, a simple inspection of the Bible by the court disclosed that it was published 20 years after the date of the marriage certificate it contained, and the nephew was dismissed as a fraud and subsequently sent to jail. Damn. As to the rest of the 1,000+ relatives, only 9 were recognized by the court, and they shared the estate with the charity and the lawyers, of course. Even in those states that do not impose restrictions on charitable requests, if the testator gave what the heirs feel was too much to a charity, you can be pretty sure there will be trouble, especially if the circumstances surrounding the charitable gift appear suspicious. The case of the famous and colorful pianist uh, Riderz was an illustration of this. Only 2 weeks before his death, Riderz, in the terminal stages of his disease, signed a new will leaving the bulk of his $18 million estate to the Riderz Foundation. The documents were drafted by Joel Stroh, a Beverly Hills entertainment lawyer who had represented Riderz for several years. Stroh was named executor of the will and trustee of the charitable trusts. Surprisingly, the contest and legal battle was not to challenge the large charitable request, but rather to remove Stroh as the executor and trustee because of the suspicious nature of the hurried transaction. During the trial, a barrage of witnesses, almost as colorful as the uh, sequined rhinestone-studded pianist himself, offered intimate testimony about Riderz's personal life and about eccentric behavior that allegedly occurred in his household, but the testimony had little to do with the question of whether Stroh was suitable person to act as executor and trustee. After many days of such shocking but irrelevant testimony, which caused most of the parties to storm out of the courtroom in tears, the judge himself finally put a stop to it, saying, "I am not interested in personalities or morals. I'm here for one thing. Should Mr. Stroh be removed or not?" And after considering all of the relevant evidences, the judge ruled that Stroh's appointment as executor and trustee should stand. Some final words about words. Though there is certainly no question that a will is more than a collection of words, there is the very serious question of whose words are they. You go to your lawyer and tell her, "I want to leave this to Jack and that to Jill and the rest to Mrs. Hill," which you feel should take no more than 2 or 3 sentences. Later, she sends you a draft of a 10-page document containing thousands of words, considerably more than a simple disposition of this, that, and the rest. Later, after you have signed a document you never really understood, you meet an untimely death Death is almost always untimely, and a will contest arises over whether you meant this when you said that, and what is included in the rest. The lawyers each building a convincing argument over why you wrote the will the way you did. Witnesses are brought to testify as your intentions and whether or not these intentions were reflected in your will, and the court launches into a basic rules of interpretation and construction of wills to decide once and for all what you meant in the words of your will. Words are given their plain meaning. Begins to judge. Begins the judge. And the answers must be found within the four corners of the will. But the words were not really those of the testator, one lawyer responds. His lawyer chose the words. And since it was a person skilled in the use of words, why should we give them their plain meaning? This should be literally and technically construed, since we cannot now ask the testator what he meant. All right, the judge says, to determine the intent of the testator, perhaps we should consider outside evidence. But if we open the door to outside evidence, says another lawyer, does this destroy the sanctity and security of the will, which was so carefully executed before witnesses and all just for that purpose? If there was a mistake, she says, it was the lawyer's mistake. He didn't say it right. But how do we determine that? Replies the judge. What about the accepted legal doctrines that there is a presumption of just a reasonable meaning to the will? That the will speaks for itself as of the moment of death, and that the latter of two inconsistent provisions should prevail. And so it will go on and on and on, usually until the parties settle. Actually, all of the arguments and principles mentioned above are valid and have been the basis of many court decisions and will contests. As to the question of whose words they are, they really should be a combination of yours and the lawyers. Given the complexities of the law and the many provisions that belong in a will, which would be nearly impossible for a layperson to draft and understand, it is a fact that it is a fact of life that you should engage a competent attorney to draft your will, and that many, if not most, of the words will be the lawyer's and not yours. That does not mean, however, that you need not or should not read it over carefully and ask questions about any provisions that you do not understand. Only by asking, for example, would you know what a tax apportionment clause is, and then be able to decide whether you want such a provision or that instead you want the beneficiaries to pay their fair share to the taxes. And only by reading your will you be able to see whether your estate is being divided as you instructed. Actually, the dispositive provisions, those that dispose of your property, are often much easier to understand than most of the others. So you should at least be able to confirm that this part, that part, and the rest of your will be divided as you directed, and that although the very words may not be yours, the thoughts are yours. So that concludes chapter 5, everyone. Did anyone have any questions or anything they wanted to piggyback about chapter 5? All right, well, um,
The reading is very interesting, Mother.
peace, Mother. Yes, it is. Very detailed information. I hope you guys are getting it all and everything.
Oh, Islam?
Islam,
Yeah, what was the name of that book you was reading again?
it's called The Complete Book of Wills, Estates, and Trusts. Yep. So yes, it's a very interesting book. It really will. This book will basically help everyone, whether you have a lawyer or not, into putting together a will for yourself, if you haven't already. So this is a very, very kind of detailed book that will help you do that step by step, because it's basically telling you everything that you need in a will, and will help you to avoid some of the um, what are the issues that have arose in the past, because people didn't have wills, or they weren't specific enough in their wills. So anyone else have any questions or anything they wanted to speak on? Okay, well, I mean, this pretty much concludes our everything for the night, you all. Um, there's still a lot of things going on all over the world. So I hope you are just keeping your ears and eyes open and paying attention and doing the necessary things to prepare yourselves for what's getting ready to take place. Continue buying your silver, you all. I was listening to Tosh Tariq Bay and House of Reawakening Minds from their live they did this past weekend. And he was mentioning that, before even the year is out, silver is going to get up to about $600 to $800 an ounce, guys. So hopefully you're stacking up your silver and, getting ready for this great wealth transfer. Also, accumulating your cryptocurrency. I'll put it in the Telegram chat. I was also reading today, it was an article out about they were making like some similarities between El Salvador and the United States when it came to cryptocurrency, and the reason why they don't really want cryptocurrency to really happen is because majority of the holders of cryptocurrency are melanated people. And the reason melanated people are now turning over to cryptocurrency because we've been redlined into so many different other aspects of the financial world, wasn't able to take out loans and things of that nature. So the cryptocurrency has started to be this has been going on for years. So cryptocurrency was starting to be that outlet where people can go invest in something and start seeing huge returns. And we have decentralized financing where you can take loans out on your cryptocurrency. There's a lot going on with cryptocurrency that is really changing lives. And like it was saying, one of the reasons why they don't want it to really happen is because melanated people are, have majority of, are basically the major holders of those assets. So you guys really want to maybe look into getting your hands on some cryptocurrency if you haven't already, because it is definitely going to happen, and it's going to change the world, as well with silver and gold. So with that being said, I just wanted to give you guys those little key pointers there and let you guys know some of the things that I'm aware of that's getting ready to take place. Other than that, did anyone else have any information that they could share or wanted to provide to our community?
Hey everybody, this is Maria. Today I just saw a video about the currency changing in Africa. And they're looking to use something called a Lumi, L-U-M as in Mary, I as in ink. And not only is it gold backed, but it's also, this part I didn't understand. I need to watch the video again, but it has a solar energy component attached to the money as well. I can't really articulate that. I'm not exactly sure.
I know about the Lumi. I actually collect the Lumi myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, what you said is true. It is a currency that is being given to all melanated people in the diaspora and in the continent. It was the brainchild of the African Kingdom Federation, headed by Queen Sheba III. And they've been distributing this currency since last year, October, and they're giving it out to all African descent people throughout the world. Doesn't matter where you are. You just have to register online through their ecosystem, because the diaspora has been recognized as Region 6 of the African regions. And so, yeah, and it's I think you get 6.26 Lumi per month until 2023.
Okay.
And your 6.26 Lumi is equivalent to $100.
Wow. Okay, because I just pulled it up on like the coin market cap. Well, I'm not on coin market cap. I'm actually on Coin Geico, and it's showing that the price is currently 17 cents. And you can actually, invest in these too. They have it on the platform crypto.com. Well, no, it looks like it's on Poloniex, Just Swap and Poloniex. So I think those are the two platforms that you will be able to acquire those on. But Mother, if you have also the site where we will be able to, get those free coins at, if you could
Yes,
put that information in the Telegram chat for us, we would appreciate that. And I'm definitely going to do more research on it and be able to provide more information on it next time we gather.
Okay, yes. And they do have every other week Sunday, I think, because somebody I know does she does like a Zoom meeting to let everybody know. And there's a Zoom group. There's a Telegram and WhatsApp group that you can join once you register. So you get all the latest about what's happening. There is a marketplace to exchange the Lumi and buy things amongst members, because, and then they also, the lady that is hosting putting the groups together has, she has a, what do you call it, membership scheme, whereby you get your Lumi, you can invest your Lumi and get some percentage back. So there's a lot of things going on, but you need to be part of, at least one group, so that when, what's up, the up-to-date stuff on Lumi. Yeah. Okay. And the Lumi was actually introduced so that Africans can start, trading with themselves.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Islam?
Islam.
Yeah, is that spelling on that Lume or
Lumi?
Lumi.
Okay, great. Are you?
No problem.
All right. Well, thank you, Mother, for elaborating on that. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to pop that out there. I just saw it today. So, and I'm also noticing, if I could comment one more time, is that other countries seem to be, they recognize that the dollar is falling here. The fiat over here is trash. So more countries are starting to gold back their currencies. I believe China and Russia in particular. I think there's a couple more. And there's a couple that are refusing to do the whole, Bitcoin deal as well. Nobody, they're trying not to have their monies regulated the way America wants to regulate the system. But I guess I wanted to ask, do you think it's worthwhile to hold other currencies as well that are gold backed from other countries?
Yes, most definitely. In fact,
The Lumi is for us. So, and it's been given to people free till 2023. I mean, you don't have anything to lose. For personally, I don't think is the best way to go, but is the first step in the right direction. They
right.
have a good intention. I think as they get more aware of what money really is,
Mm-hmm.
things will start to change, because as we all know it, the real money is gold and silver.
That's right.
So we kind of reckon that, well, I kind of reckon that they do have good intentions, those who have, created this. But as things progress and they themselves are, getting the education, then they will, because right now the gold that is being backed on is actually grains of gold, not ounce, not troy ounce of gold.
Right.
So yeah. And yes, it is the first step in the right direction. But changes, I kind of reckon as they get education, they may change it to make it better for the people. And many countries have actually, and there's, I think, Malawi in Africa and some other African countries have actually starting to adopt the Lumi.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's,
Islam of the Flory?
yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, I hope it's not a crazy question, but right now, if we were to come to Belize, what would be the safer way to get there now? Because I do not trust those airplanes right now.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The closest city is Miami. Miami,
Okay.
less than an hour, and you can come by boat.
Oh,
Yes. The other alternative is via Mexico. If you don't want to fly, you can.
I don't want to mess with Mexico either.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, Miami, Florida is the closest. And yeah, but you know what? Belize Airport is no longer tracking people. You don't have to quarantine yourself when you arrive. So it's a lot easier than other airports.
Right.
And even though Belize also, you have to wear your what do you call it? Your mask if you are entering. It's not, you can walk on the street without your mask on. You can live your life without any problems, because I just live as if COVID doesn't exist in my world.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the way I live my life. I don't watch I don't listen to the news. I just live my life as if I'm living my life normally.
Right.
I haven't traveled because I don't want to be exposed to all those nonsense. So
Exactly, yes.
at least until I nationalize. So
Yeah, because just like I grew up with a bunch of Belizeans, and they used to try to get me to go when I was much younger, but I was always afraid to go. They said you're afraid because once you go, you wouldn't want to come back.
Belize is, it's a beautiful place to be. I mean, it's not the West. It depends on what you really want. For me, I just want quietness. I want stress-free place, quiet, to just live my life. There's no materialism here. So yeah, that's what I like. No materialism. And that was what I was running away from Canada, materialism. And see more people that look like me.
Anyone know what the dollar value compared to the American paper?
Well, actually, in Belize, you can spend your US dollar is $1 is equivalent to $2 Belizean. And it's a permanent rate.
Wow.
Yeah. $1 is equivalent to $2 Belizean dollars. So if you spend your dollar, you will always get the change back in Belizean dollars. They will
Wow.
not give you back dollars. Yeah. They do take dollars, but if you need change, you get it back in Belizean dollars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mother Shay, what was that series we was watching for a minute where they was having all the fried corn and the crabs and all that?
Oh,
And
that was in Jamaica.
yeah, where they had brought the crabs and it sounded like $800, but that's really wasn't a lot over
Right.
in Jamaica. It just sounded like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
What is it like to buy land there in Belize?
Actually, land is I was actually looking into that this afternoon. I was looking at there's Placencia, which is the southern part of Belize. That's where the Caribbean Sea, the beaches, So I'm looking at, I was just looking at real estate there. There's land, you could buy an island over there.
Wow.
You can buy an island, yeah.
You got my attention.
Okay, me too.
Yeah, you can buy a whole island. I was actually looking at, there's a real estate person that helps you with all of that. I mean, island will cost maybe like, it depends on the acreage of it all. You could get, if you have $1,500,000, you could buy an island in Belize.
That's where
Okay,
unity
that's
comes.
not my story.
No, that's
I
where
just need
unity
a small plot.
Well, the thing is, if a group of people want to,
Right.
Mhm.
just live together,
Right.
just put money together, buy an island, and you build it the way you want to have it. I mean, you have like,
Yeah, because I was Home Depot is even advertising these they already basically like manufacture homes, and you can get them for like $12,000, and they're basically like already have the bedroom
already, yeah,
very nice.
Belize is still one of the cheapest places to buy real estate in the Caribbean, which is still like, it's still like a well-kept secret. Belize is not well known by a lot of people, but people are, like when the lockdown happened, a lot of Americans were coming to Belize.
Wow.
They were like, even the islands were being bought sometime even before it hits the newspapers for sale, before it goes to the public for sale. It's already bought.
Yeah.
Yeah, Islam, but that, if I'm not there all the time, that's straight Airbnb. Somebody will rent it.
Right.
Yeah.
What
they do? They also, what people do is fractional ownership. Like they'll
Right.
build a house, and then
Right.
you get like 5 weeks to live there, or you can actually rent it out to somebody if you don't need it for that time.
Yes.
There's a lot of fractional ownership. So, people can buy. There was one, I was looking at some this afternoon, 150,000, 75,000, and they're right opposite. You are overlooking this Caribbean Sea. Yeah, and the beaches is just, lovely, lovely, lovely. And there are different parts of Belize that you can choose. There's the mountain part, which is the more west. And then if you want the beaches, you go to the south. Yeah. And then if you want there's one that is close to Mexico, it's right on the Mexican border, close to the Yucatan Peninsula, Chetumal. And you can just go on the boat for about, I think, 40-50 minutes, to Mexico. And then they have all the US stores like Sam's Club, Walmart. Some people go there and they said it's really cheap. I haven't been yet, but they said you have what they call Heroes Avenue, and things are really cheap, cheap to buy there. Yeah.
So what do you think, guys? Do you think we can maybe put some feelers out there to see if people want to, purchase a plot?
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Why not?
Sounds like
Well,
a good idea.
I was looking at a plot today for $45,000. 45,
Mm,
0.26 acres. Not
That
bad.
ain't much. I
that's
mean,
not
as far as
bad.
money wise, that's not much at all.
Right.
No, that's not much at all. I mean,
That's
the
not.
first thing is to come and visit and look around.
Mhm.
Well,
They do have I mean, like that's what I did when I got connected to Belize. There was this ECI developments. There was they were trying to build the Marriott's residences in Belize. That was how I got my first connection to Belize, and so I linked up with somebody online, and they helped me to connect with people that I need to talk to when I was coming for my visit. So through that connection, I was able to come and visit, and you know, they helped me with where to stay and everything. And yeah, and then I came last year June to look at, you know, to visit, and I made my connection during that visit. And when I came, my connection helped me to find a place to stay. Like I'm living in Belize City, but that's not really where I wanted to live. I wanted to live first in San Ignacio, but since I'm here now, I think Placencia is what I would really prefer. Yeah. Because
So-
I like waters, I like the sand. The mountains are good too, but the mountain part of Belize only have rivers. So they have rivers. And you know, very green, very green. They do have farmland also if you want to buy farmland.
Mother
Yeah.
Flores, Islam.
Yeah.
During the hurricane season, excuse me, how is it out that way?
Well, we are in the hurricane season right now. It rains, that's all. So far,
okay.
yes, so far, this is my second year. You know, the weather is fantastic. Even when it rains, it is still hot. Yeah.
Wow.
The sun is always shining. Even the rainy season, it does rain. Most of the time, the rains come down in the night. When it comes during the day, it's very few and far fetched. It will come down and it will stop, and the sun is shining again.
Wow.
And it could come down a lot. Within 5-10 minutes, it has stopped. Then the sun is out. Then if you want to go anywhere, you can do your errands, come back home. The rain can start it all over again. But that's how it is.
Wow.
For me, just for the weather, it is worth it. I love it.
Well, Mother Flores, if Mother Shea Marie want to go, I will be trying to make some arrangements the best I can to try to come that way. We will inform you way in advance.
Okay.
That's something I always wanted to come there and like you said, look around. Because to me, it wouldn't be a waste because there's a lot of tourism that goes there.
Yes, there's a lot of tourism.
You can always put it on the Airbnb, you know, because I'm pretty sure y'all do have that there, correct?
Yes, they do. Lots of, they do.
And that way you can make your money back and probably get it up and buy another island or something, you know?
Yeah. You know, when I came to visit last year, there were lots of Americans that I met. And boy, they are so happy. I asked them, how long have you moved here? They said, oh, I moved here 16 years ago. And I'm so happy I moved here. They always, everybody spoke to say, I am so happy I moved here. Anyway, I'm so happy. If my daughter is not in Canada, I don't want to go back to Canada. I don't even want to see Canada in my, even for my granddaughter, my daughter, I don't want to go to Canada for what? Nothing. No.
Right. 'Cause I'm looking at the pictures. It looks beautiful. Ooh, I don't know. I wouldn't want to come back either.
The people are nice. The people are nice.
Yeah, well, that's what I was always told growing up. Man,
and the thing also is it's very close to the, it's very close to the United States. Like When
Yeah.
I came through Houston, Texas, direct flight from Houston is 2.5 hours on the flight. There's a direct flight from Delta, from Atlanta, and then there's United flies from, and then there's Southwest Airlines flies. United, I think they have 3 or 4 flights a week coming here.
Wow.
Delta has 3 flights a week coming here. And then there's American Airlines too. I don't know how many times. And then they have the local, you know, they have their local airlines too, and some smaller airlines. Yeah. You know, it's a small place in terms of population, but it's very green. It's very green. It's very
The water is fresh. The food is fresh.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, when I go for my walk by the waters, you see some people, you know, they're fishing. They'll do the fishing, and that'll be their lunch for the day. That'll be their lunch for the day.
Can you catch crabs often? Because that's what
you know what, the crabs, you know, when it rains like this, the crabs are out. They are walking on the land.
Oh wow.
I saw crabs walk. There are a lot of them, like an army of crabs walking. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, you shouldn't have told me that.
You remember we were watching on
Only
that.
I don't eat those things anymore. So, you know,
Yeah, because we were watching.
Here they even have lobster festivals here. They have lobster festivals.
Yeah, because we were watching in the in Jamaica. They just go and get them from out. They don't even. You can get them out the dirt. They were just
dig a hole and was getting them.
Dig a hole and catch them.
Yeah,
amazing. I'm like, wow.
You know, the culture here is very laid back. So when you come, don't, you know, nobody hurries up here.
Right. Now, I mean,
hurries up here.
Passport?
Oh,
you need a passport?
Huh?
Do you need a passport to come there from the States?
Yes, you do. You need a passport to travel anywhere now.
Wow.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you enter, when you come in, they give you visa on arrival. So they usually give you like 30 days or something like that, like 30 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then after that, you can go renew. You can renew it after that if you want.
Yeah, it might not be enough time, but I guess that's good.
Well, that's awesome. We're gonna have to really look into that. And
well, that's what I've been doing. I've just been renewing my I just keep extending my stay because right now I need to get my nationality and my proclamation done because I was advised not to even apply because I'm due to apply for my residencies after 1 year, which was what I was going to do. But when I started attending the more classes, so the teacher said to me, just send them your proclamation and declaration. And then that's all you need to send them. You don't have to get any visa or, you know, you can live anywhere as the indigenous. Yeah. So that's what I'm preparing because I don't want to pay that money every month. The money is quite high. Since lockdown, they increased it from 50 to 200.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. That is.
And every time I go there, they say, have you applied for your residency? I say, well, I'm getting my papers prepared. They said, okay.
Well, Mother Flora, we ain't playing about it. We plan on making that trip. So.
Okay. Well, I'll be glad because I've been wanting people like-minded to be, so that I have friends here. Because right now, my time is spent on Zoom meetings. And, you know, so I don't really have time to go out and, you know, socialize. Yeah. Well, plus that, I'm kind of waiting to have enough money to buy my property and move to, you know, I want to go to Placencia and just, you know, chill and have a look around. So that's the one place I didn't go when I came last year.
Okay.
I went to San Ignacio. I went to San Pedro. San Pedro is very touristy. That island, all they do is drive golf carts, lots of golf carts. That's their means of transport. Yeah, that's their means of transport.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely gonna have to make it out there soon. We got a lot of things, a lot of great things that are going to be happening over the next couple of months. So hopefully we'll be able to put some of these things into action and put our resources together, you guys. And like Brother Harris is talking about, investing in some property out there and making it do what it do for ourselves, you guys. That's
yeah. Because Belize is growing, it's a growing place, and more people when they get to know this place, it is still affordable. It's a place that is still affordable compared to other Caribbean countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty affordable. Yeah. Plus, when you're moving from the United States, the currency, US dollar, it's a better deal. Like
you get more for your money.
Yeah, you get more for your money. Like me, my Canadian dollars allows me to live better than I would probably live in Canada if my retirement money anyway. So yeah, because I didn't want my standard of living to drop because I retired. So
right.
Mother Shea Marie.
Yes.
Anyway, we can order some bigger suitcases.
I mean,
hey, it's too funny.
Right.
Hey, Mother Martin.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I'm sorry I was late, Mother, to the class.
No, you're okay.
The other thing about Belize is it's an offshore country. So in terms of taxes, they have what they call there's a retirement program I think from age 45 you can move here, and you don't have to pay taxes for moving all your stuff here.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they have this retirement program for people between 45 and above.
Wow. Okay.
I was there a long time ago.
Me too.
Right. Look, I'll be 45. So no.
There you go.
Yeah. So you can either come in using that program, or you can come in and want a residential. Once you've stayed for 1 year, you can apply for your resident.
Oh.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do a disclaimer? Because Mother Shea Marie, I ain't going by that water.
Oh Lord.
She's always on a boat somewhere.
Yeah, you can just come on the boat from Miami.
Right.
They do have a port. They have a port, so you have a port where to put your boat. Lots of people have boats here. Like I'm very close to, they call it Tourist Village, and they have this Radisson Fort George. Every weekend, the Americans come. In fact, this is I've been seeing every Wednesday they have these big tour buses that line up, because there's like an open space close to me here, and then all the buses, they park there because you book through the hotel, and they just pick up their passengers from the big space. Yeah.
See, Mother, I never understood why people don't like to travel. So I'm looking forward to that.
Right.
Well, I am just happy that before COVID hit, I had traveled a lot.
Right.
I have been across United States for like webinars, seminars, I've been to a bit of Europe. I haven't finished it. I have done some, but not as I was looking forward to traveling more in my retirement, you know.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
But once I get my declaration, I'm back on the road again.
That's right. I know that's right.
Blame you.
Yeah, I'm back on the road again. I just need to get that done. That's my focus right now. Get that done, do all the, family visits, and then start doing my travels.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I used to always ask these young men, I said, well, don't you like owning more than a corner? You know what I mean? These guys out here say, man, get off my corner. Get off my corner. Don't you want to see more than a corner?
All right.
Yeah, because when you've traveled to different parts of the world, you will appreciate.
Right.
Yeah, you appreciate life. And like when you live in the West is, you kind of like,
Right.
you have more choices, because you see how other people live. Although the West has its comforts and all of that, but it also has the stress.
Wow.
It also has the stress. Like, they talk about Africa with all its challenges, but people live better in Africa than people like those of us that live in the West. A lot of them have a lot of money.
Right.
They do their hustles, and they have properties. By the time they retire, they don't worry. They don't even worry about getting pension from anybody. They already have their pension done for themselves.
Right. Right. That's what I like right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we're gonna make that happen though. So Shay,
Yeah, don't try to leave me out. I'm in it too.
I'm involved.
Me too. Me too.
You know what? We should just create a community. I think Belize is good for that because there's plenty of space to do that.
Right.
Because there's a lot of opportunities here that haven't been tapped yet. So, I mean, money creates what you want, right? Money creates your dreams. All we need is that, once we get all that money transferred to us, we can create our own community.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's actually enough of us on this call,
That's right.
On a regular basis.
And you know what? When I came the first time last year, there's this American guy that had bought a lot of land in the northern part called Coroza, because I connected with him from the internet. So when I came, I went over there to see. So he had bought a lot of land, and he was now reselling those land to people who want to build their dream homes. You can have your dream home built right by the sea. You have the sea view.
Wow.
It's on the beach if you want.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And the thing is, they buy this land for cheap from the people. And of course, because they're Americans, they'll be reselling them for, I think he's a developer from California.
See, that's what it is, mother. It's like when I went to Alabama, right? And I just took off running. And it's like when you come from another place, it seems like you see more opportunities than a person that's actually there,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they come and they see it, the opportunities. So
you know what? There's a couple that I befriend them. They're from India. They said they've been living here 54 years. They have a store, and on top of the store is where they live. When you enter the place they live, oh my God, it's like
Wow.
you won't even believe that there's a place there that looks like that. Like, because every time they ask me to come for lunch whenever I want. So when I'm there around lunchtime, I just go upstairs, and then they serve me with my, with food. They say, what do you want? Because they have their own cook. They have somebody that cleans. Yeah.
good.
Wow.
And, like all these things that I need, he said, just write your list and I get them for you. So like all my list of things, instead of going to the grocery and buying it for expensive, he gets them for the US with his, with his own supplies. And then when they come, she just say, oh, your stuff have arrived. So I just pick them up from him.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
a good connection to have.
Yeah.
Islam.
Mother Flores, I wanted to ask you, do they have those container homes there yet?
Right.
Because see, I know a lot of ships and barges come that way or through there. And a lot of time they sell those containers.
I think they do. I think they do because I remember when I was coming, my real estate said, oh, I can get you, because there was this property I was looking at the first time I came. The owners were trying to make it into a resort.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and my plan was to create a wellness center. It was just ideal for what I wanted. And, and then he said, well, if you don't buy that, you can just buy land and I can just get you somebody to put, something there that won't cost you much, which is like yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Those, I don't know if they got a Home Depot over there, but because I'm going to pull it up for you. Let me show you.
No, they don't have Home Depot, but they have something similar to Home Depot. There's everything you need here. You might not get 20 different types of places doing the same thing, but you get what you want. Yeah, you have one or two.
Right.
Yeah. Because all the people here, the Indians,
right,
and the who owns the stores, not even our people. Oh my gosh.
That's what I was going to say, Mother Flores. See, there's enough talent on this call right here that everybody start a community and everybody has something going on in that community.
Right.
Which also attract people to the community.
Yeah.
Man, I ain't hearing nothing but money.
And the only people you see begging for things are our people. Oh my gosh. You don't see Chinese people are here too. They also own the stores. Well, you never see any of the people begging for anything. It's always our people.
Right.
It really hurts my heart when I see that, because, it just hurts my heart.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, there's no amount of money you give them that's going to be enough. They just need food. They need shelter.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll
Have
tell
you guys heard of the
talking about it on this call. We got to get there and see what's going on, what it's going to take. Wow.
And even, you know what, you can even work with the government, because, as everything, money talks, right?
Right.
If you have a project in mind, you do your proposal, because they have the Mennonites here who do a lot of agriculture. They actually feed Belize. These Mennonites, they have their own, I think when they came in the 50s, the government of Belize gave them a lot of land. And they call it Spanish Lookout. They do a lot of farming.
Mm-hmm.
They also do, because Belize has good wood. So they make things like the beds, they make, oh my gosh, furniture, and sell them. And they live in their own community. They have their own community by itself.
That's what we need. That's what we need.
Right.
Yeah. And they give
them
a lot of land, and it's only them that you see there. And they live in their community. Nobody bothers them.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
We need
Have you guys heard of the
no one
Earthship House?
us.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Oh, that looked nice. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. You can put down a couple of those and Airbnb, they'll pay for it.
Belize even need low cost housing. They need it.
Wow.
Yeah, they need low cost housing.
Hey, look at this one.
Look at that. That's lovely. Yeah.
It's a pre-built home.
Pre-built home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I need that now.
I don't need no big old house.
Right.
Mm-mm.
I got
Have
kids.
you guys heard of the Earthship houses?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're completely, self-sustainable, and you basically just gather whatever is available: tires, wood, plastic, all kinds of different things that it's made out of.
Wow.
That's
Oh,
the route I'm going. I've been designing my house for a long time.
Hey,
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too.
Whoa,
I
see,
think
that's
if
what I'm
anything
talking
I do
about. I
on this
love that.
before I go is
this
just
one.
build my
Oh,
own
yeah.
house. Yeah.
That's natural materials too.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Earthship, yeah. I
Well,
see
the
it.
first thing you need to decide is where do you want to really build the community? Do you want to build it in the Caribbean? Do you want to go to Africa? Whichever, just
Well,
once
I've been looking at Africa. I thought I was going to Africa last year. And prophetically, it's going to change. But right now, there's just too much
yeah,
going on.
it's too
Too
much
much.
going on right
Yeah.
now. That's why, because I also went to Africa in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was actually 2019 that I first came to Belize. When I went to Africa first, I went to Nigeria because that's where my parents come from. And yeah, I was not ready to move there. There's a lot going on, lots of things going on. I mean, the thing about Africa is when you get there, you love it,
Mm-hmm.
but you just need to find a place you can call home,
Right.
And it's what the reason why I couldn't move there, it was the mindset of the people.
Wow.
It was just the mindset. The mindset to me was just too much.
Wow.
I thought, well, of course you can find your own place and then you don't have to. But when 90% of the people have the same mindset that is not yours.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
So, Flora, you feel relatively safe in Belize, I take it.
Oh, yes. I feel safe in Belize. Belize, even though some people say, oh, Belize is not safe. Well, where is safe anymore? Is United States safe? No.
True that.
Oh, we're the worst. This is the worst place.
There's
Well,
another lady I listened to. Her name is Flor Byrne. She moved from the United States to Brazil.
I listen to her too, mother.
Yeah, she said it's real nice.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
What's her name again?
On YouTube it's Flo Byrne. It's FLUE Byrne, I believe. I'll have to send it to you. Let me see. Yeah, she does a lot of galactic talk and stuff like that, but she's been talking about, the difference from, living in the United States. She's also from the Caribbean islands originally, but she's also lived here in the United States. But she moved to Brazil recently, and she said it's very nice there.
Yeah, that's what I heard from people who moved from the United States to Brazil. Although some people will say Brazil is not safe, well, everybody, you just have to find a place.
Right.
Until you start living there, you wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
When I was moving here, my friends from Canada said, oh, is it safe? I say, well, you see there, is Canada safe? Anything can happen anyway. You just not, you're not going looking for trouble, right? So, yeah. You just stay away from the safe places, that's all. No, I feel.
Is there a lot of trucks moving around there?
Sorry?
Is there a lot of trucks moving around out there? 18-wheelers?
18-wheelers, what do you mean? Is there a lot of?
Do you guys have like freight truck drivers, 18-wheeler truck drivers and things like that?
Oh, okay. I guess they do. You know what I see here? They have a lot of cars, lovely, nice looking cars. Oh my God. Big cars, like the US, they have nice cars on the road.
Wow.
Lovely cars on the road. Now, they do say that Belize is for the wealthy people, that people who have made it from, West come here to live. So they flash their wealth around.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna be us real soon. So
I'm serious.
Hey guys, where are you getting your? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I believe the ones who want to go, we can do it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mother.
Oh, no worries. I just wanted to verify where you guys are getting your silver.
Oh, well, we have two sources. Quicksilver is one, and the other is the 7K, the 7K metal. But you know, you might be more feasible and easier right now to just go through there's Quicksilver, because with 7K metals you have to have like a membership. It's a yearly membership, which is $200 or $500. So if you just want to get your silver, you know, outright, then you probably be best just going through Quicksilver, 'cause it's
Okay.
that more
I
expensive.
can just hop. Should I use like, well, you just referred me. Should I say that you
Um,
referred?
well, on the website here, freedomriders.org is our
Yeah,
Quicksilver.
that's where you can register.
Click on
Just
Quicksilver
click
right
on
here.
you learn about it, and then you click on get started, and then you fill out the form,
Yeah,
and
Okay.
you up, you know, wait, good to go.
yeah, you fill it out and place your order.
Mm-hmm.
They have different options. So the membership, well, they don't, it's not really a membership, so to speak.
And silver is currently cheap. It's
Yeah,
29.
it's under $30 right now. See?
Yeah.
So you can choose between 1 to 10 coins per month. But then once you create your account, you can always go into the member shop area, and they have other options, a lot of different things you can purchase, different fractional coins and things like that. They have this kit here where you can put your coins in, and there's different incentives if you know choose to get this kit. So you can just go through that information and read over it, and you know, sign up. It's a very simple
Okay.
application. If you have any questions, you can definitely just reach out to me. But this
Okay.
get it through Quicksilver.
Okay. It's
So
essentially like a membership, right?
it
You buy a certain amount every month.
Yes. So with Quicksilver, you can choose whether or not you want to become a preferred customer, or you want to be a wealth ambassador. As a wealth ambassador, it's just an additional $10 per month, and that just basically positions you. If you have friends and family that you want to share your link with, you will earn a certain amount of money based on the sales that come through your link. So this was just a way to also not help people accumulate assets that they need, the silver and gold, but we're also just trying to help people generate extra income as well. So you can
I
learn
mean,
more.
I got started late. It's so funny when people approach me 15 years ago asking me, did I have some gold and silver? I'm like, no. Now I'm like, oh damn, if I had started way back then, I'd be so set right now. But I did get started at some point, but now I know I really want to do as much as I can before it flips or shoots up.
Absolutely. So you can just I put the link to Freedom Riders, and all of that information is there. You can check it out.
Okay.
Islam.
Islam.
Mother, didn't they just have what was that last month where they had a big silver sale and they had all type of coins on sale? It was real nice, you know.
Yeah, they do. I'm sure. Let me pull it up.
I think it was last month they had it or something like that.
Well, they were just adding a lot of different new coins to the site. Yeah. So I believe they still may be on here. You know, you just gotta go see what's in the member area. I'm gonna pull it up now. They have a lot of different options. Let's see here.
Yeah, because they had some real nice ones on there.
Yeah. So yeah, so these are the options here. They have, yeah, not a lot of nice new things. Different. So they also have some numismatics as well, you guys. If you don't know, the numismatics are collector coins, and because they're they are basically graded already. And when you purchase these coins, so say for instance, an ounce of silver right now is $30. As we said, it's potentially to go up to $600 to $800 per ounce. But these coins, particular coins, you can actually trade with other people, and they pay good money for them because of the art that's on them and things like that. So a lot of times, for instance, there was a Trump coin that had came out last year that you could get for about $200, but you could go on eBay and see it being traded there, or there were bids for like $700-800 and things like that. So that's what these collectors coins are, these numismatics that are already encased. So you can get those. They also have gold. They have fractional silver as well, where you can get these tiny pieces. As you can see here, very cheap, $7 for this coin. It's 1/10 of an ounce. $6 here for this coin. So, they do have some reasonable options as well, depending on, what and then these fractional coins also are the coins that are going to be, you'll be able to use when you're out and about and you want to trade for goods and services once economy does collapse. So that's
I
what
was
these
going to ask if you guys, that's not quite the same as junk silver, is it?
basically, yes.
It is about the same.
They also have some gold items here. These also, you guys want to keep in mind, these, especially like these gold backs, you can see here, these are for Utah. So
I
Utah,
got some of those. I wasn't sure how much to get because I think the only two states that really use them is I think Oregon and Nebraska.
well,
I
you
don't
have
know why.
Utah, they have Nevada as well. Nevada also has their own. So it's Utah and Nevada, and I believe there's one more. There's actually one more.
Okay.
But yeah,
look, I have some. I ordered some. They're still pretty cheap.
$6 on here. So yep, definitely take a look at those. And this is all type of things that they've been adding, you guys, as you can see here, different types of coins. These are just going through the list of their graded coins. So
Islam.
Islam, yes.
Did you want to tell her also about the benchmarks? Did we learn?
Yes. Benchmark mother Mia Shea told us about benchmark. Benchmark is another place where you can get, let me see, benchmark. I can't remember the name of the.
She's the same one that does the class on Sunday, Grow and Show. Okay.
Silver. I can't remember. Honey, do you remember the name of the actual company?
Yeah, it was called Benchmark.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up to show them. Let me see.
Hold on, I got it hitting on my phone. Right, hold on, Benchmark. It said Benchmark Strategy Metals.
Okay, yeah, okay. Strategy. Okay, yeah. So this is another site. Now this one is just, we don't get paid or anything for this one. But you can get small fractional silver and gold from here. So we did order a lot of this as well. They have a lot of different small pieces that are very cheap. They have some that are $4.
What?
Yeah, you remember she was saying that she found a local store that was letting her trade them for food and stuff like that. So that's what they're good for,
Yes, that's what this is for. These are very small fractional pieces. As you can see, like this is 1/60th gram. So it's very, very tiny, small pieces of like this gold, only $3.83.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine that's introduced me to another one, I think from the UK, called Glitz. they give you like a credit card in gold. You can put some money into it, and then you can use it to buy food.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, get that info too. What is it
Yeah,
called?
we do need that.
It's called Glitz, GLI. You can get the detail. I think they're on YouTube where they explain to you how it works.
You said Glitz?
Glitz, GLITZ. Glitz Gold or something like that. I will find out.
Okay, yeah, when you get the information, just let us know.
I'll pass it. I'll put it on the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
Have you heard of Dollarium?
Dollarium? No.
Yeah, because in class last week, the mod that teaches the class is in Canada. He said they're trying to introduce Dollarium, and it's been accepted in the United States. So that Dollarium is backed by gold, and that's what they want our people, to start trading in. Yeah. So yeah, I'm still trying to, I don't know, Dollarium, DOLLA.
Said DOLLARIUM.
Dollarium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dollarium currency.
So there's many ways to obtain it now. So
That's right. We don't have no excuses.
I know me and Mother Shay, we just go crazy with it. So, but they say it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and don't have it.
Okay, so
Exactly.
it's a hypothetical element with an atomic number.
You found
It is named after the U.S. dollar, the currency of the United States. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to do more research on this.
Wow.
So it's part of the elementals. It looks
That's
like.
it right there you're showing?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Oh, I've got another one for you guys. Have you heard of indium? INDIUM.
Indium. No, I haven't.
Well, it's just another precious metal. I need to do more research too, but I heard that is
Iridium.
Iridium.
Are you
No,
talking about
it's
iridium?
it's really called. I know what you're talking about, but this is called indium. INDIUM.
Oh, okay. So it's another precious metal. I haven't heard of that one.
You
That's
said
not,
UN or M, Mother?
M as in
Emma.
Mary.
Okay. No, never heard of it.
Something that they're saying is undervalued now, but it's gonna move
Wow,
to
that's the best time to get it.
Right.
Wow.
I have to do some
So
research.
what increments do that come in?
I've seen it in all kinds of increments, and it's usually people have melted it, or the first batch that I bought came out of somebody's science kit, and they're actually little balls.
Oh.
Okay. Wow.
Well, I have a friend.
I have been hearing that a lot of the different precious metals and crystals and stuff like that is going to be in high demand. So that's a good, that's good that you brought that up, Mother, about that particular, these particular elementals. Oh, I see it here now, 16.
Man, I love my tablet. I can blow it up.
Oh yeah, 1,600.
Wow.
This look like per kilogram or something. Yes. So yeah, this would probably be a good site to look into, because these are, a lot of the different elements and different that you might want to get into.
Mine came out a little blurry on this side. What's the name of that site?
This is tradingeconomics.com. These are the commodities. So they have commodities, they have currencies, they have stocks and bonds as well. Okay, I'm gonna have to really look into this one. Oh, excuse me, everyone. Well, this has really been a very good call.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Thank you,
Love it.
everybody. Thank you. So,
Especially the Belize part.
Yeah.
mhm. And the free Lumi, right? The free Lumi.
Oh yeah, the free Lumi.
It's free Lumi.
Yes, definitely need that information. So
I can also register people because
okay.
I registered. You can register individually, and you can also register a business. So if you register both, your business also collects free Lumis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when you register a business, they can give you 10,000 equivalents of $10,000, I think, to for your business alone.
Well,
wow.
Yeah, and of course, I think you pay it back though. Just make sure that when you get it, you have a way to pay it back. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Mother, you can put.
I mean,
it's on the.
It's.
Yeah, she's gonna share the information. Yeah, she's gonna put it in there for us once she gets a hold to it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'll be glad to help you out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, we got building a community.
I'm sorry.
How did you find the Delarium website?
I just typed it in, honestly. Let me see. I just typed in the Delarium currency, and this is the with this link here, Fandomia came up. I'll put it in the chat for you all.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'll put this trading economics in there as well. All right, there you guys go. All right. Lots of very valuable information given this evening. So tomorrow we're gonna take this and do our research on it, and we'll come back Thursday and go over some of this. However, tomorrow we do have meditation. If you can join us in our community meditation while we raise the vibrations across the planet. And other than that, it was great gathering with you all this evening. I didn't get a chance to show you all my daughter's baby shower pictures, but we had a great time this past Sunday.
How come you didn't?
Yeah, I still can.
I'm proud of my daughter. What you mean?
We had a good time. I'll pull it up. We enjoyed it.
You should have invited us as a group.
Right. Put it on the on Zoom, huh?
So I put on the chat the website for the Lumi, where you can read about it. It's got everything you need to know.
This my baby.
Oh.
Y'all notice she said all the kids is her babies.
Yes, they are my babies.
Yeah, wow, that's lovely.
And she had a nice turnout.
Wow.
Yeah, there I go with her.
That's your twin.
Yeah, that's what everybody say.
Hey, girl, that's her twin.
And yesterday was her birthday, guys. She turned 19 years old yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Today's my brother's birthday, and then my granddaughter turned 7 months yesterday.
Oh, wow.
7 months.
Wow.
yeah, so that was baby shower. We had a good time. So that's why we weren't in attendance this past Sunday, but I definitely missed you all. And looking forward to meditation and this coming up Thursday's reading and wealth building class with you all. So I definitely enjoyed this evening and I'm looking forward to us having many more and eventually, coming together and meeting you all in person eventually. That's definitely a goal. So other than that, I appreciate you all for joining me this evening. Thank you all again, and you guys have a good evening, okay?
Peace and love.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Love everyone.
Peace and
Bye.
love.
Peace and love.